Girlfriend doesn't want me to confront her friend that tried sleeping with her while I was away. Should I confront him anyways? I have been with my girlfriend for almost 18 months now. We don't fight often and I'm a pretty laid-back person regarding her friends, etc. I've never been controlling and generally laugh it off if guys try flirting with her, as it's not her fault, she's attractive and she's never been overly receptive to guys doing it. A few months ago we moved abroad for master's programs. We're both introverts and so haven't made much friends. She started hanging out with 2 people from her course and one happens to be. I had thought I had become friends with this guy over the last few weeks as he came out drinking with us and another girl a few times recently. She has said before that he's attractive, in a lighthearted way, but this didn't bother me. It's normal to find other people attractive. I was away for a weekend recently, which is unusual, but while I was gone I rang my girlfriend to check in and after a while she told me this friend was being suggestive to her. She said he called her and they were talking. She mentioned she was bored as I was away and he said her and her other friend should come over to drink. Her friend texted her saying she couldn't as she was sick and then his mood switched. He said something like, "Let's cut to business, so am I coming to yours or are you coming to mine?" She said she wouldn't feel comfortable with this without her friend as it would be disrespectful to me given he was a male, etc. He said he would come over to help her clean but was throwing in suggestive remarks about how she looked good and that his tone became flirtier. Then he said I didn't have to find out, and asked her if I had cameras in the room. She said no and then he said, "Well, he won't know, so will he." He started saying I was probably away cheating and that guys like me love little naive girls who they can lie to. She told him she had to go as her ma'am was ringing and then the conversation ended. Here's where it gets interesting. When I returned yesterday I told her that I was going to talk to him personally about this as I knew him and he was going to be around her quite a lot because they have all the same classes. Suddenly there was a huge reaction. I wasn't allowed to confront him about the situation. He was quite friendly to me and I was under the impression he was the closest thing to a friend I had made since I moved over. I said he was extremely disrespectful to try tell her I was probably cheating and to try to come over to our apartment to intimate her while I was away. First, I couldn't confront him because he is 3 times your size. Keep in mind I am not an aggressive person, so this would not have happened. I explained this to her. She got really angry and emotional and told me that I couldn't say anything to him because he would gossip to his other friends who are also in her course and that then she wouldn't be able to get any help with assignments and would be outcast. She said she was really stressed about college, etc., etc. I know she is stressed and that being friendly with her classmates is very useful. However, I thought this was a stretch. I said he is going to be around you 5 days a week and that me confronting him about this is essential. She then said I was selfish and am risking her grades for a bruised ego. The next thing was that it would cause him to spread rumors that she was flirting back, etc. I told her I just wanted a calm conversation with him to express my feelings and tell him to stay away from her. She started swearing at me and shouting that I wouldn't listen to her and that just this once she wanted me to listen to her, etc. She said she already decided she wasn't going to talk to him again and then I asked had she blocked him. No, in fact he had sent her a TikTok a few hours before this. I said that if I had a female friend that had done this she would be blocked instantly and that I wouldn't have to be told to block her. She said she doesn't block people. I said that it was crazy he wasn't blocked and she began making out that it was controlling behavior on my part. She started shouting, "Do you want me to block him?" To which I responded, "Obviously." I was honestly very confused as to why she didn't want to block him herself. This was apparently a big deal and she eventually blocked him. I told her I was still going to have a conversation with him and this made things worse. She started ignoring me and crying a small bit. When she realized I was going to confront him regardless, she started suggesting compromises. She said she would have a conversation with him this week and let him know that it was disrespectful. I asked her if she would have done this before she knew I was going to say something and she said no, she wasn't a confrontational person and was just going to ignore him from now on. I said she could speak to him first but that I was going to speak with him afterwards at some point. This angered her and suddenly I was being ignored again. 30 minutes or so go by and then she asked would I compromise. She said I could say something to him after Christmas if I still felt this way and after a while I agreed, as her reaction had made me feel like her life would be living hell if I talked to him about it. Her reaction was so strong that I suspect the real reason she doesn't want me to talk to him is that there is more to the story than she has told me. I know she was sending me pics of her new lingerie just before he called, which I was very grateful for. I want to have a calm conversation with him and if he starts saying she was flirting back, etc., I can ask him if he knew what she was wearing, etc. If he doesn't know she was in lingerie then she probably wasn't flirting back, but if he knows that detail there's definitely more to the story. She says she has never lied to me and that she never would, but I also know a breakup would be very detrimental for both of us right now as we are in a new country and don't know much people. We live together and rent would be very tough if it wasn't split. So it's impossible to ignore the fact that it would be in her best interest to lie about something like this. I don't even think she meant to tell me about it. It slipped out when I called her, but this was hours after it happened. Should I confront him anyways? Comment. A story is as old as time itself. I've been on both sides of this equation so many times it's painful to read. In my mind, her reaction, obnoxious guilt-tripping, and her offhand remark about how cute that guy is already enough to conclude she either considered cheating, or have already cheated. You can either be spiteful and flirt with other girls, or just break up without any closure. Definitely confront the guy in any case. Be as pushy and confrontational as possible. Worst case, you take a good beating and have him charged for assault. And tell your mutual friends about what happened. The intent is to maximize our damage radius while breaking zero laws. That's the thing. If they have everything to lose, you can be as obnoxious and confrontational as possible with no repercussions. If they lose their cool and assault you, you essentially have all control of events and their career too from that point. This was never a zero-sum equation. You come out winning every time. My opinion? There was two-way flirting going on. It went too far, she got cold feet, and told you half the story to try to make her feel less guilty. She freaked out about you talking to the other guy because she knew you would get the whole truth. It is also possible that she started flirting. I would talk to him without her knowing and find out what really happened. A rational conversation where you get his side of the story, not a confrontation. See how much these stories match up. From there, you can make an informed decision, but right now you have too much doubt to know what to do. That's best case scenario. By now, if both sides are in on the flirting and being discreet, they would have confided in each other about the issue. The guy would either say no, and already reached out to OP, or will play along with the ruse. It's important to gauge the guy's reaction to his confrontation to see where some of that truth really lies. He will either be apologetic and respect OP's wishes or lay out the facts for OP to see about his GF. Low chance the guy will be a dick and kick up more dirt on this confrontation if the flirting was really one-sided. If he's apologetic and respectful, respect that, but keep a close eye on the GF. If she hasn't blocked him yet and after that, good chance he's still in her DMs. Sounds like she's definitely hiding something and doesn't want you to talk to him to find out the full truth. Just speculation, but the timing of her sending you lingerie pics and him calling her right after sounds a lot like she might have also sent him the pics and regretted it / got cold feet after he suggested to move to the next step in cheating. Yeah, that let's cut to the chase. Yours or mine part sent off alarms in my head. That's not something someone says if there hasn't been prior conversations about something. Unless this dude is cartoonishly bold, he was given some sort of sign that what he was saying wasn't completely out of line. I think the lingerie pics were for him, not you. Now she is coming up with a story in case anything gets out that she cheated on you. She doesn't want you to confront him because he will confirm she cheated. Did you ask to see these messages? I bet she already deleted them out of respect for you. She cheated. Story 2. I'm divorcing my husband for suggesting an open marriage. Complicated feelings. My husband and I have been together for 9 years, married for 7. We got a not-so-classic shotgun wedding to give ourselves better chances of receiving custody of his half-sister when their mom suddenly passed away. Despite only being 20 and 21 years old, we did receive full legal custody over her absent father. This information isn't super relevant to the current situation, but it really sets the tone of our relationship with the sacrifices we made together and the things we each had to give up personally to raise this beautiful little girl. We don't have any children together, but his sister is now 17 and moved in with an older, more financially privileged aunt last year. Over the past year of this newfound alone time, I feel like we have flourished each personally and as a couple. We never fight, arguments are rare, and we are pretty good at coming to understandings and apologizing when necessary. Basically, I feel we had a pretty healthy relationship. We each do little things for each other. I receive flowers no less than 10 times a year. We go on little vacations together and are generally really good. I guess a bit of the spark was sputtering out for a while, but I feel like that's normal for a relationship as long as ours. Fast forward to this past October. My husband seems like he has been depressed, which is normal for this time of year because of the timing of losing both his mom and dad in different years around the same time. The holidays are tough for him, so I get it and try to be there for him. He had previously planned a suicide attempt because of family issues before we met, so I take his mental health very seriously. He sits me down to have a serious conversation and starts it by saying he wants to open up our relationship. I felt my heart drop to my stomach but stayed silent and let him talk. He doesn't go into why, just jumps right into rules and explains how he wants me to find someone first before he starts looking for someone himself. When I ask him why, he couldn't explain it and fumbled his words. I asked him if he already had someone in mind for himself, and of course he denies it. I couldn't help it. I definitely blew up. I was totally blindsided by this proposal. I slept on the couch after my outburst, and he didn't even try to come after me to explain anything, which kind of made me feel worse. I had never felt so unwanted in my life than in that moment. I have never given the impression that I was the kind of girl to be open to that kind of relationship. I will never judge anyone for wanting to live that kind of life, but it's just not for me. He went to work the next day, but I had the day off and really thought about my situation. After crying for hours, I came to the realization that this was the end for our marriage. Even suggesting an open marriage was a deal breaker for me, I realized. While he was still at work, I moved all his stuff out of our bedroom into his sister's old room, technically a spare room now. He comes home from work, ready to talk it out. After talking through more of why he wants this, I've come to realize several things. He is way kinkier than he lets on, and is disappointed with our bedroom life. He knows I'm not on the same level and doesn't want to push me past my boundaries to try things he knows I won't like. When I asked how he knows I won't like to try these new things, he explains they are an escalation of things he already knows I'm not down for but won't go into specifics. He also is unhappy with how infrequently we have intimate but has never really put in the effort to change anything regarding it. Just complained over and over and expected me to just be ready to do the deed any minute of the day. He feels we have nothing in common now that his sister is gone. For context, he is more of the outdoorsy type, whereas I like to stay inside and read or play video games. I do venture out once in a while to do things he likes together and do genuinely enjoy them myself when I go, like kayaking and skiing. I do understand that it isn't as often as he would like, though. Because we got married so young, there are a lot of things neither of us really got to experience or try. He is mourning the loss of his young 20s and never getting to sleep around and explore his kinks. Part of the rules he explained was that we wouldn't technically be sleeping around with whoever we wanted. He called it an open marriage but described it more as polyamory, where we would each have a boyfriend or girlfriend of our own that we went on dates and did things together. Someone we were each allowed to love and be with intimate. An emotional connection was pivotal for him, which broke my heart to pieces. During our talk, I told him I would never be able to look at him the same. I would never be enough for him, and he was basically trying to get a pass for guilt-free cheating in my eyes. I told him it sounded like he wanted to be with someone else without ever leaving the comfort of his marriage. Knowing he could date around and not worrying if those relationships would fail because he could just come home to me. He tried denying these things, saying he wanted to explore himself intimate but didn't want to lose me in the process. He tried getting me to agree to marriage counseling to talk about the open marriage concept. I told him just proposing an open marriage was grounds for divorce for me, and I wasn't willing to go to a counselor for them to gang up on me to try to bully me into trying it. I know in reality that never would have happened, but emotions were high in the moment. Because I told him I could never see him the same and how badly this crushed any self-confidence I may have had, he doubled down. He said if we go back into a relationship and pretend this never happened, then he would end up cheating on me. For him, it was open marriage or nothing. I chose nothing. Divorce papers were filed exactly 1 week later. He was very hurt, angry, that I could jump right to divorce and kick him out of our bedroom so fast. But I refused to be a second choice or have to fight for his attention. I can't believe he is okay with the idea of another person being inside of me. He is willing to just give me up to explore his options. I can't believe I wasted so much of my time with him. Helping him heal his family and raise his sister, I feel completely used. Advice: did I overreact? Should I have waited longer before filing for divorce? Should I have just gone to marriage counseling, or was my gut instinct correct about the marriage being over? I still love and care about him, but my brain is screaming to be logical. We still live together while we are trying to figure out how to split everything, but now he is being super toxic and petty, saying hurtful things and then begging for personal details about my life. I need to get out of this house. How do I cope with these complicated feelings?